Hey everyone, happy Sunday, or I guess it's Sunday when I'm making this. I don't know when you're watching this, but yeah, happy Sunday. I apologize, I'm fighting a cold, so if I'm coughing, or if you hear a thunderstorm in the background, yeah, hopefully not terribly distracting. But today we're getting into chapter 9, okay, we're talking about statistical measures, so here we go. So today we're specifically doing 9.1, which is Introduction to Statistics. So talking about what statistics are, how do you collect statistics, how do you analyze statistics. So yeah, really fun, really applicable topic. All right, so what is statistics? Well, it's the science of collecting, organizing, analyzing, and interpreting data. Okay, so whether you're out in the street asking questions, you're taking a survey, or you're taking information and you're organizing it into a graph, that's all statistical work. Now, what's a statistical question? Well, not all questions are statistical questions. So when we talk about statistical questions, generally what we mean are questions which will likely not have a single answer. Okay, so what kind of pet do you own? You're probably going to get a bunch of different answers. Favorite milk drink? So you got strawberry, you got chocolate and vanilla, and then over here with oils, or so types of oils. What's the percent of different types of fats? Okay, that's a statistic because you get different answers here. Canola oil has a different amount of saturated fat than peanut oil does. All right, so let's do a problem here. We're going to say the survey is taken about the weight of different students' slime. Okay, and the students are asked to bring their slime to school, weigh it, and record the findings. So, number one, is this a statistical question? Well, let's think. What was a statistical question? A question which will likely have more than one answer. Okay, so, well, if everybody followed the same exact recipe exactly, then I suppose maybe it wouldn't be statistical because everybody would have the same amount, right? But I'm sure all y'all have different, types of slime, different colors, different amounts of borax versus glue or whatever goes in there, right? So I would say, yeah, it's a statistical question because what we're going to find is that probably different students have slime that weighs different amounts because they use different recipes to make their slime. Now, let's say that students from 3 different classes enter their different weights of slime into a table, and we're going to display their data here in what's called a dot plot. Okay, why is it called a dot plot? Well, here you're going to see. Okay, so I'm going to take this first piece of data, and this table is organized for us numerically, starting there, going down, and then back up and down. Okay, so that's kind of convenient, but not always going to be the way, so just make sure to be aware of that. So 0.9, where's that going to be? Oh, okay, so it's right there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is above 0.9, just above it, I'm going to put 1 dot. Okay, and the reason I put 1 dot is because only one person so far has a slime that weighs 0.9, and I should say this is in pounds. Okay, now what about 1.2? Let's go to 1.2, put a dot. So we check that one off. And just check that one off. And then we have another 1.2. So what I'm going to do is put a dot above that first 1.2. Okay. And then 1.4. And you get the idea. So go ahead and finish this and then play the video when you're done. Alright, so it probably took you a little while because you had to kind of continue this graph on, or this dot plot on like that. But hopefully yours looks just like this, okay? So now let's ask some questions about this. Like, what can we determine from looking at this dot plot? Well, the first thing I see is that we've got a big gap right there between 1.7 and 2.4 where there's no data. Okay, so not that this sample size is really big because we do only have 10 people contributing data here, but it's just not that big. However, we still have this gap of data here. It doesn't really seem like anybody has, or in fact nobody has any slime in between those two amounts. Okay, so why could that be? Maybe all the recipes kind of favor slime that gets you about that much weight, or maybe down here. What else can we tell? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 total pieces of data. We have 6 pieces of data down here. We've only got 4 up here, and these 4 are a lot more spread out than these two, right here. Okay, so again, we have a higher concentration of data down here than we do right here. And then we can also say that almost exclusively, except for one or two pieces of data right there, everybody has slime that weighs a different amount, except for these two people right here. All right, so let's do another question here. You went to summer camp last July with your best friend, and you remember being there for 3 or 4 weeks. I'm sorry, you remember being there for 4 weeks, but your friend thinks you were only there for 3 weeks. You look back in your journal, and you had actually recorded the high temperature for each day that you were at camp. It must have been really, really hot. How many weeks were you at camp? So here's what we want to know. Can we use the dot plot to answer this question of how many weeks were you at camp? Well, let's see. That's a dot plot. You recorded the high temperature every day. Actually, I think we can. Okay, and let's look at this. Let's remember from our last question. Look right here at this dot plot. So this student here had slime that weighed 0.9 pounds. Okay, so kind of using that sort of same thing. Let's just find a dot here, like this one. What does that mean? Well, it means 84 degrees, but what was 84? If you recorded it each day, there must have been a day where it was 84 degrees, right? Okay, so, and this came out of your book, in case this is looking familiar. There was one day where it was 84. Okay, so if that's the case, what about these two at 83? What does that mean? Well, it means that it was 83 degrees, not one day, but twice. It was the high on 2 different days. So I think what we can do is just count the number of dots, right? So we've got 4, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we've got 3, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 3. If you add those up, right, you're getting 11, 4, 5, and 8. Those two give me 12. Those give me 16. 16 and 12. What do you get? 28. Okay, so you were there for 28 weeks, right? No, not 28 weeks. Why? Because you recorded the high temperature each what? Day. Okay, so we had 28 dots, which means there were 28 days. So how long were you there? Well, of course, we just take 28 and divide it by 7. You were there for 4 weeks. So who was right? Well, you remember being there 4 weeks, but your friend thinks you were there only 3. So you were correct. Nicely done. All right, so now, y'all, we are going to do a little bit of an experiment. All right, so we're going to kind of start this now and then follow up in class. So what I want you to do is I want to look around you, and I want you to write down the questions, but also the answers. So question and answers, obviously you need, this is part of your notes, so you got to write it down. Answers to the following questions. Okay, 1. How many yellow items are within arm's reach of where you are currently sitting or standing? Okay, so just like, you're not getting up and moving around, how many yellow items could you grab from where you are? 2. How many pets do you have? Okay, not with you currently, just how many pets does your family have? And then these last two are kind of, they're separate questions, but we're going to analyze them together. How many people are in the same location as you? So if you're in the car, how many people are in the car with you? If you're at home, same thing. And then how many people are in your immediate family? So mom, dad, brothers, sisters, kind of thing. All right, so answer those 4. Make sure you write the questions down as well, and then come to class ready to kind of do a follow-up with this information. All right, that is all I have for you guys. Thanks for sticking with it. Look forward to seeing your answers to those questions in class and talking more about statistics.